What's up, Thrashers, and welcome back once again to the Thrash Maniac 99 YouTube channel, and I just want to take this time to say Happy Holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, and all that fun stuff. And, yeah, so for the premise of this video, this is a response to my good buddy and fellow Shadow Cold podcast co-host, it's Mr. Scott. He started up a new thread in the YouTube metal community of a little albums list here, and he decided to do a list of 7 great metal albums for the winter time. Given that he's from New York and the Northeast and how winter is really bad up there, and sometimes winter can drive people absolutely nuts. And you need some music to kind of get you through that in some way, shape, or form, whether it's to just get your mind off of it or fully embrace winter time. And honestly, that's kind of the latter of the two is more or less what I based my list off of, is stuff that feels like it belongs in the winter time, to me personally, and makes you want to embrace it. Because personally for me, I love the winter time. I don't like the tricky roads and all, but the beauty of the nature of winter I really love. I love the snow. It's fun. I don't mind it as much as other people do. So, without further ado, I have 7 albums here that I feel perfectly encapsulates winter in some capacity, or just proper winter metal music. And I'm going to go cheeky with the first pick, and that is the band Winter and their album Into Darkness. So yeah, Winter, one of the originators, along with Autopsy and Asphyx and Paradise Lost, for the Death Doom subgenre. And these guys from New York, and this was their only album back in 1990 was when this was released. And you want to talk about cold, grim, desolate Death Doom, this is it for you. Tracks like Servants of the Warsman, Godin, Destiny, Eternal Frost, in the title track Into Darkness, Power and Might, Oppression, Freedom, Oppression. I mean, just top to bottom, like slow, gloomy, doomy death metal right here. So if you're a fan of like the slower Celtic Frost tunes, this is definitely going to be right up your alley. The vocals are just gross, like in terms of like that grunt, kind of like taking what Tom Boyer did in Celtic Frost, but just make it a little bit lower, so to speak. But yeah, Winter, Into Darkness, kind of cheeky because the band is called Winter, but listen to the album and you will understand why I put it on this list. Moving on to the next one. Now, these next 2 are going to be from Norwegian bands, but in 2 different realms of Norwegian heavy metal. First, you can't have winter metal without talking about the masters of winter metal themselves, and that is Immortal. While Mr. Scott chose All Shall Fall, I decided to choose one that I think fits more appropriately with wintertime, and that is At the Heart of Winter. One of the best Immortal albums. Not my favorite, it's maybe my second favorite behind Sons of Northern Darkness, but in terms of actually capturing the insanity that winter can make you go to, this is the soundtrack for it. Songs like Withstand the Fall of Time, Solar Fall, the title track, Where Dark and Light Don't Differ, Years of Silent Sorrow, Tragedies Blows at Horizon. I mean, just 6 songs, but they're all fucking epic and heavy and thrashy on top of each other, and even a little prog, just a little hint of prog in the Immortal sound at this point. But yeah, At the Heart of Winter, again, I'm going cheeky on this, but hey, again, when you're talking about great metal albums for the winter, you can't do a list without including anything from Immortal. But I wanted to go with the one that I felt was the most appropriate, and that is At the Heart of Winter. Next up, the other Norwegian pick that I have, and this one, again, I'm going cheeky because of the album title, but when you read along to the lyrics and listen to the music, it's very fitting. Borknagar, Winter Thrice. One of the more recent Borknagar albums. In fact, almost 6 years ago this came out, and this was one of my favorite albums from 2016. I mean, just the beautiful melodies, the heaviness was quite heavy, the vocals, they go between like operatic cleans, normal cleans, and the death metal shriek. Or not death metal, black metal shriek. What am I talking about? I'm kind of doing this video a little earlier than I normally would record, so forgive me for that. But, yeah, the black metal shrieks here. And this was the last album to feature Ventersorg on vocals before ICS Vortex would take over. But, I mean, songs like The Rhymes of the Mountain, the title track, Cold Runs the River, When Chaos Calls, Erodent. I mean, every song on this album is just beautiful, captures the landscape of winter so well, all about the nature, the beauty of winter nature, and also some Viking stories as well. But yeah, Borknagar, Winter Thrice, if you're in the mood for something softer but yet still has plenty of balls, this is the album for you for the winter time. Now, next up, I'm going with Black Sabbath. Now, which Black Sabbath album do I think kind of captures, not so much in the lyrics, but the feeling of winter? And I decided to go with a bit of an odd choice, and that is Headless Cross from the Tony Martin era. I've just been jamming this album almost non-stop since I picked it up. I love this album so much. I mean, tracks like the title track, Devil and Daughter, When Death Calls, Black Moon, Nightwing, Call of the Wild, Kill in the Spirit World. Basically every song on here is great. And I feel like it has that darker vibe to it, and that darkness certainly fits with the wintertime, at least in my opinion. I mean, you could have gone with maybe an album like Tear, or even to go further back, like a colder sounding album would have been something like, I don't know, Master of Reality, or even Heaven and Hell, you could honestly have. But I want to go with Headless Cross because I feel like sound-wise it captures the aggression and as well as the epicness that winter can make you feel. So, Headless Cross by Black Sabbath it is. Next up, I talked briefly about Celtic Frost earlier when talking about winter, so my next pick is Celtic Frost, and there's no album in their discography that captures grim, cold darkness than their final one, Monotheist. I mean, basically when Celtic Frost went straight up gothic death doom here, like no real thrash or real black metal moments except for Totengod, which was the first part of the triptych 3-part track where Martin Arcane, may he rest in peace, was going full bore like black metal screaming for like this like embellishing scary song. But like it's very somber at times too, with tracks like Drown in Ashes, Obscured. But then you get to tracks like Progeny, Ground, A Dying God Coming into Human Flesh, Zabismi Veldath, Ein Elohim, and that 3-part triptych series with Totengod, Synagoga Satane, and Winter, Requiem Chapter 3 Finale, which was like this classical ending to the album. And yeah, just no Celtic Frost album sounds darker, colder, or grim than this album. Gothic death doom at its best in the 2000s. This is definitely fitting for wintertime. 2 more left, and next up I am going with one of my favorite albums of all time, and I think it definitely fits this time of the year, or the season that we're in, being winter. Opeth Blackwater Park. I mean, it's very, very bleak, no pun intended with the song Bleak. Very heavy, very beautiful, and lots of those cold moments in terms of like the kind of folky vibe on tracks like Harvest, The Drapery Falls, where those acoustic guitars really kind of capture the nature winter can provide. and songs like Leper Affinity, Dirge for November, The Funeral Portrait, the title track, top to bottom, this, in my opinion, out of metal in general in the past 2 decades, this has been, in my opinion, the benchmark album for metal since the 2000s in my mind. But yeah, if you're looking for something that has like more beauty to it, yet still retains a brutal aggression to it, this is right up your alley. And then finally, I'm gonna go with an all-time classic album from back in the old days, and I'm going with Ozzy Osbourne's Blizzard of Oz. Again, cheeky, I know, but hey, when you have a track on here like, let's see, like songs like Revelation, Mother Earth, and Goodbye to Romance, I Don't Know, Mr. Crowley. I mean, it's an all-time classic album, and for me, of course, with it called Blizzard of Oz, it's fitting for winter. Well, it's fitting for really any time of the year, so... But I mean, it's, in my opinion, out of all the Ozzy solo albums, this is the best one. May Randy Rhoads rest in peace. Yeah, tracks like I Don't Know, Crazy Train, of course, Goodbye to Romance, Suicide Solution, Mr. Crowley, Revelation, Mother Earth, top to bottom. Just beautiful, awesome, one of the best. And that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes this list. So, yeah, I wanted to shout out It's Mr. Scott, because he started this thread, and yeah, it's a pretty cool thread, and I hope that you guys who are watching that also make YouTube videos, make a list like this yourselves, because it's kind of a cool concept to think of like, oh, which metal albums definitely fit the season of winter the most, or has that vibe to it. Well, if you watch Mr. Scott's video, he goes in a bunch of different directions with his picks, whereas I was going more for atmosphere, as well as like album titles, song titles, what have you, stuff that, for me, truly fits this time of the year in terms of atmosphere. But, yeah, if you want to make a response, let's get this going. Like, let's see if we can get a whole bunch of other people to make this list. Like, Thralls of Metal, and Metal Madness, Metal Mania, bunch of new friends I made here, and I also want to personally thank Necrotic Nick from Thralls of Metal for helping to grow this channel, because now we have surpassed 3,200 subs, and thank you all who have just subscribed recently. Stick around, there's plenty more content to come. In fact, tomorrow night, I will be live here on both YouTube and over on Twitch for a Christmas Metal Q&A. But until then, horns high, and I will see you in the next one. Well, after we got done eating, we're on our car ride, and look at this fucking shit.
Look at this bus! Where are you going, sir? I rode the bus here when I was little, and the bus route doesn't even go up this road. It's supposed to go around. What are you doing, sir? Big doors, small doors. You want to buy a door? We'll sell you a door. We only sell doors. We're Door Incorporated. We only sell doors. What the fuck is my life come to?
I'm never gonna live it down because Johnny Benson has ruined me. Financially, mentally, physically. Johnny Benson, dude. If you're out there, Johnny, this one's for you.